Lights, camera, action. But there's no action happening. You're frozen. You're not sure what you're supposed to say. The lights are blinding. Your heart's beating faster. We've all experienced that. The camera starts. You don't know what the heck to say, what you're even doing anymore. You're the expert. How can you not be able to do this? Well, that's why I've got Sue here. She's going to talk to us a little bit about herself, and then she's going to talk about why this matters to her and why it should matter to you. Susan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Great introduction. I like that. That was great. Thank you.
It's a feeling that's all too real for all too many of us. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's just dive into this world of camera confidence.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me today. This is awesome. And I think you are a great podcaster, and I really appreciate all of your content. So thanks. I'm just happy to be a part of that content. So thank you for that. So what I do, I'm a camera shy female. Coaches and entrepreneurs hire me to help them speak with unwavering confidence. And I like to use the word charisma, and I'll get into that later. But they're just usually tired of, just having so much to say, and they have so many great ideas, but like you mentioned, like when the light comes on, sometimes they just freeze and everything stops. So I want to help them just get over that hurdle. And I just help them master their on-camera presence. And how I do that is I go in my coaching program. I have a where we start kind of at the basics and the fundamentals and find out maybe why is that fear there. So we kind of analyze that, talk about it, bring that out in the open, just see where we can go from there. And I think I just want to also say with my bio on who I am, because I'm like, who are you? I mean, who are you telling me what to do about camera? So exactly. So I just wanted to share with you my bio. So just not my, whole bio, but like I was a professional singer for 20 years in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, way up north. And I represented the city of Edmonton. Actually, I was a professional singer and recording artist. So I did 3 albums. I was actually on Billboard magazine once. That was my claim to fame. And I represented our city of Edmonton. I don't know if anyone out there knows about Edmonton and Klondike days. You probably know more about the Calgary Stampede. That's where I was born. But Edmonton had a Klondike days, and I was the Klondike Kate. So I got to wear a lot of feathers and dress up all the time. And for 3 weeks straight, I was 10 to 10 shows a day. And I just represented our city all over North America and across Canada. And I also sang the national anthem at the Stanley Cup playoffs twice. And it turned out that we didn't know who the Canadian team was going to play, American or another Canadian team. So I was going around my house like for 2 weeks before going, oh, say, can you see? Like I was doing all of that just to practice, to be prepared. That was like the fright of my life, I'll tell you. And I also, after I finished my singing career, I'm still singing, but I got my BEd in special education and English. And I've written a few books that are on Amazon bestseller list. And I just also feel, and I've also trained in the Happy for No Reason certified trainer course. So that's kind of who I am.
I love that. And it's a really important kind of aspect to dive into when it comes to showing up on camera is the underlying, like, who even am I? Who am I to, because that's one of the first things that people wind up saying, well, I can't press go live or hit record. Nobody wants to hear me. That's all the head junk that winds up happening when you're going, you even if you've committed. So how are you helping people to get past that? How are you looking at, what are some of the experiences that you've had personally and with your clients when it comes to showing up on camera and really tapping into the charisma and confidence that they need in order to be effective speakers and in the end, really get the success that they're deserving of based on their expertise?
Exactly. Well, we start by finding out what their goals, what they want to achieve. I really want to know why they want to do what they want to do. And I want to establish what their goals are so that we have an end, something to look forward to, and that I can guide them to get to that with them in the coaching. And just charisma is amazing word, because charisma is, because we don't I'll just have it. I mean, I think some people think I'm confident, but then I get on camera or something, somebody says something in a meeting room, puts me on the spot. And as my mind goes, it's not like I'm not confident of what I know, but it's my body kind of does things that make me feel that fear. And so I differentiate between that and being confident, being ready to go on stage. And also charisma is something you learn. I mean, something that's very important because it's you creating a person that somebody else can trust, and that somebody else and you have to portray the warmth of it. And the warmth kind of relates to your authentic self. I mean, if you are talking to a baby, you're not going to be trying to prove something. That's you talking, or to your dog. I'm a dog. Right. I mean, that's your authentic self talking. So charisma is a combination of somebody having trust. They have to, if I'm speaking, they need to have trust in me, and warmth. I have to portray that warmth, that I care. I mean, that I'm here to help, and I want to share with you. I have so much to share, just like you have so much to share, and I want to be of service. So again, but just to go back to your question, the confidence just doesn't happen. Some people have to practice. As a professional singer for 20 years, I mean, I practiced for 2 solid weeks the American national anthem. I mean, you don't just do it. And I think people feel like, oh, that's not me. And I love your word about introvert. So tell me more about that, because that's another thing we want to talk about, introvert and extrovert.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. And I think that actually, if you don't mind, I want to go back to actually
Please.
comparing confidence with charisma, because you said a few things that I found really engaging. So confidence could look like bravado, which is not approachable, which is not something that that can be intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you're saying that charisma, this is the person you go to.
Mm-hmm.
This is the go-to person for whatever problem you have within the scope of their aura, who they are and what they represent. And so you're not just teaching camera confidence. This is a whole methodology that relies on, or not relies on, I shouldn't say that. It's that encourages action.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just beating our chest.
No.
We're inviting people into a conversation, which is like the most perfect thing when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
Because if you're just confident in marketing,
yeah.
And I mean, my business is called Marketing Confidence. Okay. So this is mind blowing. So if you're just confident, maybe we're beating our chest a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not actually starting the conversation. Marketing is meant to start conversations, create relationships, and really establish community. And that's what allows you to create conversion and sales and grow your business. So if you've got that, mix that confidence, because sure, I want you to do a little bit of chest beating because you deserve it, because you're freaking awesome. And open the door to that charisma, which also nurtures and provides warm space for people to trust and accept you.
Mm-hmm.
How does that then become internalized in a way that doesn't result in heart beating fast, hands sweaty, knees shaking as soon as that record light turns on? How does that switch happen?
That's the fear that's showing up. So that's when those things happen, that's your limiting beliefs kicking in. That's forgetting who you are as a person. And I think one story I'd like to share is one time the very first national television show I did, we were all there on the set waiting to go on. It was a country western show. I sang everything. And I was a single mom with 2 babies. So, I mean, I worked 6 nights a week, and for every job that they called, sure, I can do that. Anyway, but it was a country western show. And I remember specifically being in the studio when everything's going on. They were all getting ready to set up. And I'm like really nervous. This is my first time. And I remember a guy came over and he said, "Hey, you want a coffee?" And I went, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, please." I think he saw my nerves flying off of me. And it was just a cameraman, right? And he just sat down and with his jeans, and we were drinking coffee. "Where are you from? What you doing?" And then he just said, and I said, "Oh, I'm so nervous." And he said to me, he said, "No, you'll be great." And he goes, "Just remember, I'm on the other side of that camera. So when the light comes on, like right now, I'm looking at my light on my camera." And he said, he just told me, great old guy. He just told me, when the light comes on, look at the light and see me. I mean, you see my face. So you're singing to you, to him. So it like, it just totally relaxed me. I was like, I'm just singing to a guy in the audience. I'm not, because everything else was so bright. Everything was black. You couldn't, there was an audience. You could hear them. You could see the other entertainers, but you couldn't see them because of the light. But I just remember that so clearly. So and also another story, Maya Angelou said that when she first went out on stage, or way back, she would be behind. You always have to prep. I mean, this is not just a thing that comes easy. Everybody knows how to do it and it's natural. It should be authentic, but it's not natural. You do have to practice. But what she said when I was behind the curtains and I was looking at this huge audience, this is way back in her early days as a poet. And she said, I just had this mindset of that everyone in that audience loves me. Like they love me so much and they're all here for me and they love me. And she just changed from the contracted, fearful thing that some of us feel. That's what's getting in the way. That's what you're talking about, that contraction. And now you're nervous, everything comes up. If you breathe and you relax and you think about either the guy behind the camera, or you think about your family or your favorite pet or whoever you want to think about, and then also be open-hearted because they love you. And if they don't like you, that's okay, right? I mean, you're just going to give to them. And the biggest thing for me to tell people is that it's for them. You're not you're singing to yourself. I mean, you're only singing for them. And that's when you take your mind off yourself and on the audience. That's when everything kind of fits.
Absolutely. And I know, and this is a challenging thought too. I mean, I love what Maya Angelou said. I love that. And it can be very challenging mindset wise to believe that they all love you, especially even with what you said, they may not all like you, but you have to kind of convince yourself that they love you. And this is actually a really big thing that I come across with a lot of my clients. And I'm glad you use the word authenticity, because they're afraid that they're not going to be loved for who they are.
Right.
Maybe that's not how they say it. Maybe that's not how we all say it, but that's the underlying principle.
That's
but
correct.
If I'm too weird, but if I don't do what we were talking about this too, if I don't do what my mentor says is the right thing to do, it's like, well, if we're being honest, from experience, you have more experience than I do. When you show up authentically, the people who would otherwise like you wind up loving you. But the people who don't like you, we're not going to like you anyways.
You can't have everybody liking you.
I mean, you don't want everybody to like you.
And I love the saying that is, what other people are thinking is none of your business. Yeah. And you have to, it's just off the shoulders, or it's not something that you even have to think about. So that's the mindset that's so important to have.
And being able to step into your authentic self, especially when you're showing up on camera, and being comfortable with that, is going to take your presence to another level and allow you to tap into that charisma.
Yes. And again, but it's not like just boom. It's just like confidence. Confidence is not being competent at something 100%. It's not being perfect, right? It's not competence in that sort. Confidence is saying, I want to learn that, and I want to take the steps it's going to take me to get there to do that. So I am confident to move forward. And some people move forward at big leaps, and some people move forward baby steps, whatever you are, right? And I love I have an I wrote this down just for you. I was thinking, Shauna, because we always talk about introvert, extrovert stuff. And quiet people have the loudest minds, right? So those are those introverts. So, I mean, and it's different so you just can't assume that people, they're just naturally like that. No, they're not. They work at it and they practice.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And that is really great. And I'm glad you brought that up again, because like I'm an introvert. I'm very much introverted. When I spend time with other people, even the good ones, like even the really good ones that I want to be around, it drains me energy wise. I just wind up going, okay, by the end of it, I need some time. I recorded 2 back-to-back podcasts as a guest last night. And I had to kind of curl up in the corner on the couch with my blanket, and we listened to some albums. And very quickly I said, no, it's time for bed. Yeah. I was drained. I was done. And it wasn't that I was unhappy. In fact, the conversations were really riveting. They were amazing, but my energy was low. Exactly. Extroverts typically, when they're in that situation, they gain energy. So that's the
Yeah.
only difference really between introversion and extroversion. An
Right.
introvert can show up confidently on camera.
Yes.
Most of the people who join me today would be like, you're not an introvert. That would be your knee-jerk reaction. But I'm an outgoing introvert. And you don't need to be outgoing
Yeah.
either to show up effectively on camera.
Yeah. So true. I think you and I are both extroverted introverts.
That's fair.
Because that's what, like when we do what we have to do and we have to do it, but then we go veg out after, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and I enjoy coming and having these conversations, and I invite the audience here to ask any questions about this is how I feel when insert the blank, right? And both Sue and I are the kind of people, we're going to address that with you. We're going to say, okay, let's work through this. Let's make sure that that hurdle isn't the thing that's stopping you from achieving six-figure success. Because if the only thing stopping you right now is pressing the record button, we got you. Right? That's the point, right? Which is really beautiful. And now
Yes.
I want to move on from that in a way that allows us to tap into one of the things you're an expert in that really, really intrigues me. And I think it's tied together because that fear feeling, that compulsion to do the thing that people tell you need to do, it can come with a feeling of like, bleh, bleh, don't want to.
You're not motivated.
Right? So how then, and this is where we're getting, how can we tap into that happy for no reason approach
Ooh,
to how we're showing up? Because
ooh,
camera, for a lot of people who have that camera hesitation, camera shyness, maybe camera
yeah.
fear, possibly, all of those feelings are not necessarily associated with happiness. And so how can we flip the script?
Mm. And there's not one single easy answer to that, but what I do is walk them through. First of all, I want to encourage them that like you are amazing and you need to believe that, but we want to get you to that place where you can believe that because of all our inner thoughts, our beliefs. There's a myth of more. If I lose 10 pounds, I'm going to be happy. If I'm going to win $1 million, I'm going to be happy. Those are myths. Those are not concrete things that you can even consider, but we have to take all of that away. And what it is, it's like a love for yourself. This is an inside job. 100% inside job. So what I do is I walk them through. When my Happy for No Reason trainer certification course, we talked about the home of happiness. So you've got your foundation, your beliefs, your values, everything that you believe, and then you've got the pillars of your heart. You want to be open-hearted to people, not contracted, not and expanded. And that's talks about that. We talk about your mind, all those limiting beliefs and the myths that you believe and stuff. And then about your soul. Like, do you feel like the universe is a powerful thing and are you a half cup of, person? What is that? Cup half full, cup half empty. Are
Optimist
you
versus pessimist. Yeah.
exactly? So where are you and where do you fit in that? And then the body, we talk about, like just the healthy, normal, really good. Are you getting enough sleep? Like you could be really just stressed out for lack of sleep. Like we gently talk about that because I'm not a health person, but and then the garden is who we surround ourselves with. And then the roof, of course, is who, again, more of the things that we want to attain to and the goals that we have. And your garden is like who are cheering you on? Who are the people cheering you on? All those things. Once you know all those things and have an established foundation, you learn to just say, you know what, everything's okay, and I'm really good. And you learn to turn everything to say like we take away the blame, shame, complain game.
Mm.
That's one of the biggest things. We draw attention to that to say, how many times are you complaining about something like the weather you have no control over? If you're open-hearted and just thinking everything is turning out for me, that's a mantra. Everything is always turning out for me. You'd be surprised at how many things turn out for you because that's so you learned how to take responsibility for your own self. Don't be blaming, shaming, complaining everybody, and just taking. And then what happens is you get a point where that inner happiness is now everything is not external, it's internal.
Right.
That place. So then when I'm standing on stage or I'm getting up to sing or to speak or something, this is me and I want to share with you. I want to be of service to you. So that's that authentic thing comes out.
That's full circle. That's full circle. It's beautiful. So, and I'm just gonna correct me if I'm wrong. I want to reiterate this concept of establishing that happy for no reason, even in the face of whatever externals,
Mm-hmm.
because we're working inside first.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm hearing is that you're kind of doing a very multifaceted audit,
Mm-hmm.
unbiased,
Mm-hmm.
taking tally without any sort of by objectively saying this exists, this exists. Even the body, you were describing, like, do you get enough sleep? And you can just say yes or no, and there's no judgment attached to that. You are simply stating it, and then you get to decide that it is your responsibility and your privilege to get to tend to all of these different facets in the way that serves you best
Mm-hmm.
and gets you into that space of abundance, of
Mm-hmm.
understanding you've got this. Like, there's no doubt. When we
Yeah.
press live today, I go, I got this. We're good. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to invite many of our other guests to chime in here to say, what does Shauna say before she's going to go live? I don't know what I'm going to say, but it's going to be good. It's pretty much every time. And I say, I got this. We got it. It's good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I've got, the thing is, I curated that for myself
Yes.
using exactly what you described, Sue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've said, I know the guests who are coming on. We
Yeah.
talk before we come on. I know
Yeah.
what's going on. I accept that,
Mm-hmm.
and I go with it, and I accept my weird faces that I make because it's what I do. And I move my hands. People will tell me, you're supposed to stand like this. And I say, I don't stand like this. I do this, and I talk with my hands, and I move my hair because I go, oh my gosh, guys, this is amazing, because that's what I do. And I'm okay with that. And people
Yeah.
will tell me, you're so confident. And I'm like, well, okay. It started here.
Exactly. Exactly. And if we make a mistake, who cares? I mean, who doesn't make a mistake?
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing with singing. You would not believe how many times I'm singing the song and everyone knows the words and I just make up my own because I'm thinking in my mind, I forget the words. I'm just going to sing about something else. And then I just keep going. Then I pick up myself later. I don't worry about it. And if I do mess up, it's like, too bad. I mean, that's what happens sometimes. That's okay.
And even the professionals do it.
Well,
So
well,
I
I
went
was
to a
as a
Blue Rodeo
professional, I'm
concert.
talking as a professional, I did that.
I'm thinking, like, like Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not that big. Well, she probably, I know she does. She's human, and she would be the first person to admit it. I love that girl. She's
Yeah,
the girl.
yes.
But I went to a Blue Rodeo concert,
Yeah.
and I love Blue Rodeo. And if anybody here doesn't know Blue Rodeo, it's an amazing Canadian band. You got to follow, country western-ish, folkish,
Very
but
good. Very good.
amazing. So Jim Cuddy, he sang the same verse twice or something, or skipped a verse or something. And my husband and I looked at each other, we're like, he just made a whoopsie. And then we laughed and we continued to sing the way he was singing because we love him.
Right.
It
And
didn't
also, if he
matter.
would have stopped to say, that's one biggest mistake people make on camera is they go, oh, darn, sorry, I should move that. My camera's not right. Or something, like they stopped and correct themselves, like on camera, or they say, well, I'm really sorry. I'm not really prepared, but I'm going to give this. It's like the worst thing. You don't ever say things. You just, if that's true. And if you make, oh, that was a mistake, let me fix that. And you just go back on and carry on. But
Yeah.
it's if people don't usually even notice, I could tell you maybe 80% of the time, people don't even notice if you've made a mistake. So you just carry on like you didn't.
Yes.
It's happened. So I've been in places where my mic goes out and I just keep singing away and I'm hoping that the guy on soundboard will pick me up and it's like, hey, thanks. And then I just keep going. Why? Like, that's okay. I mean, those things happen. They happen.
And there's no such thing as perfect. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as perfect. Even
Well,
if you think, wow,
then
that was
we're,
great, it
yeah.
wasn't perfect.
Yeah, then we're dead and we're done. I mean, it does, it's just like.
That's variety is the spice of life, and in variety comes imperfection, comes flaws, and that's beautiful. We want that. That's what makes life worth living.
Yeah.
Now, with that, I'm going to invite you to share a little bit of an icing on top, a cherry topping for our audience, some final words that you want them to take home. Now, I'm going to give a little hint to the audience. You should have been keeping track all along, because throughout this, there were amazing gold nuggets shared. So if you didn't, come back with a pen and paper, because I was trying to tally them. There were at least 9. Like, we could have made a resource for you out of what we just chatted about.
Oh,
So,
hey,
just saying.
let's do it.
Yes, right, right? Like that, it really was. They were amazing things. So grab your pen and paper, list them out, ask
Mhm.
questions, ask questions. We're here and we're ready to engage. Now, Susan, go ahead and share some final words and where people
Mhm.
can reach out to you if they're having this kind of trouble, and also just to say hi because Susan's awesome.
Yeah, say hi anytime, anytime. I think the most important thing that I try to share with my coaching students is just that like you are amazing. You're awesome. Just you, just as you are right now, this moment. And I just feel like there's some techniques and strategies that we can have to make us just enjoy that and to be authentic and to be open-hearted just by breathing exercises, affirmations, whatever works for you. Those things are just so important to remind yourself how awesome you are. So that's kind of my bottom line, is just that, you're loved, and you have to be your biggest cheerleader, I think. And that's kind of where I go with all of my stuff. There's so much more, though. There's so much more. I'm just touching on a few things today, but just to remind you that you're amazing. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm at livingandlovingeachday.com. And I also have my own podcast under that name. And I would just love to connect. And I've got a courageous confidence on camera course coming up in December. And I just hope that we can maybe connect about that or anything. And Shauna, thank you. You're awesome. And you're
Love
just
it.
like the perfect example of how great you can be doing doing you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. And just a final little takeaway, your action item for the end of the day. Today I'm doing action items. I don't know why, but this is what's happening. I want you to grab a white a whiteboard marker, one of those dry erase markers. Go to your mirror in the morning and keep it there and write on there. We've got, I think Susan may have given us 2 or 3 affirmations already. You can create your own. Write it every morning. Make it
Mm,
a part of your daily routine.
yeah. Yep.
I'm doing that, guys. So let's go. We're friends. With that, make sure you tune in, subscribe, follow, like, share with your friends, because we're talking about this stuff at least once a week, if not twice a week, and you want to be a part of this conversation because they're only getting deeper and richer as we go. With that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. We will chat soon. See
Thank
you later.
you.